framework of Benin Dance Festival, there was a preparation and tasting local dishes workshop organized, gathering tourists from more than 20 different parts of the world. Residents of a Nairobi slum are on a mission to reduce the damage from flooding in their area, working collectively as a team. At least 176 villagers were killed in the flooding and landslide brought on by torrential rains in eastern Congo, South Kivu province. Good afternoon, our dear viewers. Welcome to the 1 p.m. news edition, coming to you live and direct from Gulf TV Africa here in the city of Cotonou with Hazele OGOIGBE. Now to the news in detail, starting from the local scene. Now, the Benin International Dance Festival, BDAF, is a large-scale international event essentially set up to promote Benin as a tourist destination and make it a sought-after destination. Now, it is in this development that this preparation and tasting local dish workshop was organized, gathering tourists from more than 20 different countries of the world. The third edition of this gastronomic event is themed cassava, connoting that meals made from cassava is the subject of the gastronomy event. More information in the following report.
The Benin International Dance Festival, BDAF, is a large-scale international event essentially set up to promote Benin as a tourist destination and make it a sought-after destination. It is in this vein that this preparation and tasting local dishes workshop was organized. Gathering tourists from more than 20 different countries of the world, this third edition of this gastronomic event is themed cassava, connoting that meals made from cassava is the subject of our taste buds. The festival attenders, who came from about 20 countries around the world, enjoy the local cassava-based dishes. For them, it was a success and a winning bet for the organizers, who intend to sell Benin as a destination to dance lovers, especially salsa lovers. There are various activities planned within the framework of the Benin International Dance Festival 2023, which includes tourist outings, initiation workshops in traditional Beninese dance.
So far, so good. I'm enjoying every bit of it. Last night was a very good night. I saw some moves, saw some dancing, and today, this afternoon, we're seeing the different stuff we can make with cassava, which I already know because I'm from Ghana. So I was just trying to see the difference, but it really looked awesome, and I'm really having a good time. Benin is very good. It's very nice. Actually, it's quite a neat city so far that I've seen. And to be honest, I'm really having a good time.
And I came to the BDAF festival so that I can experience the culture up here, the food, the dancing, and it's been such a great experience. We had tapioca earlier on, and now we're about to eat some of the delicious food here. So I'm very excited.
There would also be advanced dance courses in Afro-Latino dance, evening dances, live entertainment, orchestras, with performances by renowned artists from here and outside the shores of Benin. The participants are excited to be part of this epoch-making event.
Away from that, still of course on the local scene, sports journalists go to great lengths to provide information to fans of various disciplines. On the occasion of the International Media Day, we took a look at the difficulties they face and the prospects for better results in their job. More information in the following commentary.
The aim of sports journalists is to report and inform on the events they witness, while at the same time providing a critical eye. In Benin, all are in agreement on the situation that plagues the sector. The lack of an association or body representing the corporation. Beyond the lack of a representative body for the sports media, Issa Hamadu mentions other problems that plague the system.
Alors, l'autre aspect qu'on pourrait également noté au niveau de la presse sportive, c'est le manque de formation.
The other aspect also noted in the sports media is the lack of training. The sports media today does not manage the chance of evolution. There's a lot we need to know. There's a lot of new knowledge that is important we grasp. Also, there's a lot of new dynamics at the level of the association we dream of. But without a real grouping, how can we achieve this? So I think that this is one of the key things that obstruct a good evolution of the sports media in Benin. This also includes the lack of training. We never finish learning as long as we need to train. We need to continue to learn. Faced with these different problems, a positive result is urgently needed. It should be noted that the state of the sports journalism in Benin has an impact on the promotion of sports in our country. Each player has a duty to contribute to the building of a sustainable sports media.
Away from that, crossing over to Kenya. Now, residents of a Nairobi slum are on a mission to reducing the amount of damage caused from flooding in their areas. Now, volunteer works together to clear debris and waste that is blocking the waterways and drainage at an informal settlement. More information in the following report. Residents of a Nairobi slum are on a mission to reducing the damage from flooding in their area. Volunteers work together to clear debris and waste that is blocking the waterways and drainage at an informal settlement. Armed with shovels, brushes and rakes, the volunteers are working with Weather Mntani, a group set up to help improve life for the people living there. A lack of proper working drainage systems means flooding is likely when it rains due to it being clogged with rubbish such as plastics, clothing and sludge. The Kenyan Meteorological Department has been training young people from informal settlements to interpret weather forecasts. Volunteers at Weather Mntani and Ntienu explains it is a race against the clock to clear as much rubbish as possible ahead of the rains. She received the weather forecast message from Weather Mntani, which translates as village weather, predicting rain in the coming weeks. It prompted her to band together with volunteers to clean up around Kibera, one of the largest slums in Africa with an estimated population of 250,000 inhabitants. Every week, the volunteers receive weather forecasts, seasonal outlooks, and warnings from KMD, which they translate into the local language. The translation is then sent to other volunteers through WhatsApp or SMS, which is then sent widely to residents. Community leaders are trained to interpret the weather forecast when they translate into Swahili as well as the local dialect. Weather Mntani started as a pilot project in 2019 under Developing Risk Awareness Through Joint Action, run by the Weather and Climate Innovation Services for Africa program under the United Kingdom's Met Office and the Department of International Development.
Weather Mntani has sent us a message warning us that it might rain and that we should be ready. We are not sure that it will rain, but we must inform our neighborhoods to take rightful measures. We warn children not to play near rivers. We look out for faulty underground electrical wires and unclogged water drains. If the rains come, we will not be caught off guard. That is how we stay ready.
After getting the messages from the Kenya Meteorological Department, we translate it into a simple message that people can easily understand. We do it with SMS or WhatsApp. And after we send, it usually has it has advice. So the advice is the one which people use in terms of extreme heat and also flooding. And through that, we also do cleanups before the long rains.
The project was so successful that after the pilot project ended, the KMD continues to send weather forecasts to Weather Mntani leaders. Previous flash flooding has been deadly and caused destruction to many homes in Kenyan slums. Away from that, Ayira's Neuro Soul Cafe is an establishment that aims to be a welcoming space for everyone, including guests who have been diagnosed with cognitive disabilities. Now, owner and founder Diana Ayo established the business after her young daughter was diagnosed with a neurodivergent condition.
The doors are open, and 18-year-old Natasha Mwangi is a welcoming guest into Ayira's Neuro Soul Cafe. The establishment aims to be a welcoming space for everyone, including guests who have cognitive disabilities. It is also a source of employment for young people like Mwangi, who was born with cerebral palsy. Job opportunities are scarce for young people with neurological disorders such as autism, dyslexia, and ADHD, as well as cerebral palsy. Owner and founder Diana Ayu established the business after her young daughter was diagnosed with a neurodivergent condition. Ayu is a mechanical engineer, but her experiences prompted her to become a qualified behavior analyst.
The inspiration behind starting Ayura's Neurosoul Cafe, Ayura is named after my 6-year-old daughter called Ayura. She has a very unique condition called Primrose syndrome, together with autism. As a mother, and in this part of the world, I know that the neurodivergent are stigmatized and they're not really taken care of. I wanted to show the world that even them, they can be given a chance in the society and contribute.
Awareness of such conditions is being successfully raised by the cafe and its workers.
What I've noticed that when people come to the restaurant and you talk to them and explain to them what we do and who our people are, someone will always say, I have a brother, I had a sister, I have a cousin, I have a niece, I have a neighbor. So this means that it touches people. It's just that the awareness has not been created so much out there for people to be able to know and accept and, just understand the different conditions.
We don't get job easily because it is difficult. Because you find, like us, we are not able to maybe to communicate better than the rest or write like others. So it's a bit challenging because you find many institutions, they don't take people with intellectual disability.
The venue is slowly gaining popularity with people who come from all over the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Here, people with all types of neurological problems can meet and discuss their lives with others. Family members too can discuss their experiences with other relatives.
Oftentimes people stigmatize them and do not want to offer them, jobs and the support they require to be able to stay in job. And so they continue, to remain poor and to suffer. And that also leads to development of several other mental conditions, such as low self-esteem, depression, and also suicidal ideation.
The cafe also hosts workshops focused on neurodiverse topics. Ayi says many parents come looking for job opportunities, but she's aware her resources can stretch to help everyone.
Such an amazing story. Away from that, at least 176 villagers were killed in flooding and landslide brought on by torrential overnight rains in eastern Congo, South Kivu province, locals stated on Friday.
At least 176 villagers were killed in flooding and landslides brought on by torrential overnight rains in eastern Congo, South Kivu province, a local official stated on Friday. Thomas Bakenga, a regional government official, gave the estimates after overseeing recovery efforts. He described the scale of destruction as enormous beyond words. Whole houses were carried away. He said bodies were still being collected from the shores of nearby Lake Kivu and called for immediate assistance. Two rivers broke their banks after the heavy rains which began on Thursday evening, and there have been multiple landslides with scores of homes destroyed, according to Delphine Birimbi, a community leader in the region. As bodies were pulled from the mud, some residents estimated that more than 3/4 of homes in the village of Inyambukumbi were carried away by the floods, along with school buildings and a healthcare. Rescuers work to find and save anyone who may be trapped under the debris from their destroyed homes. In a statement published on Friday, the provincial government of South Kivu offered its sympathies to the families affected and said it was sending groups of officials to the area. Heavy rains have brought misery to thousands in East Africa, with parts of Uganda and Kenya also seeing heavy rainfalls leading to destructions of lives and properties. Flooding and landslide in Rwanda with borders Congo left 129 people dead earlier last week.
Away from that, crossing away from stories of woe, now a young entrepreneur in the Democratic Republic of Congo has opened up a coffee factory that is helping revive the coffee industry in Kinshasa. Now, Kinshasa is the capital of the Central African nation. For information in the following report.
The aroma of freshly ground coffee wafts through the air in the Kingabo neighborhood of Kinshasa. Staff at the Café La Quinoa's factory are busy processing it. As such is the impact of the young entrepreneur, Tisia Mukuna. Her company is not just providing coffee, it is providing jobs to many Congolese citizens.
Convinced that it is an economic actor that can change Africa, that can change Congo. We rely a lot on the government, on politics, whereas we can rely on the economic actors that create jobs.
Her company recently introduced mobile coffee carts to target people on the move. Tisia Mukuna set up her business in 2022 after completing her studies in France. She's introduced mobile coffee carts to target low-income earners in the city where many coffee shops are patronized by the well-to-do.
Before I started selling coffee at Cafe La Quinoise, I used to spend the whole day at home because I had no job. But nowadays, I am always busy selling coffee. I wake up very early every morning to serve my customers.
The La Quinoise coffee is grown on a 20-hectare farm on the outskirts of Kinshasa. A lot of the coffee grown in the DRC is exported abroad in raw form and finds its way back into the country as a processed product. But the Café La Quinoise farm is seeking to change that. In the 1980s, the Democratic Republic of Congo was one of Africa's leading coffee exporters. Most of the coffee grown in the country that was known as Zaire came from the eastern provinces of North Kivu and South Kivu. But an armed conflict that has gone on for nearly 3 decades has ravaged the country's agricultural potential in those regions.
Every year we try to find a new strategy to promote the coffee. For example, a few days ago I was in China to promote the coffee. I'm going again in few months. I'm traveling to Brazzaville. We try to sell the coffee and sell the brands.
Entrepreneurs like Tisia Mukuna are now trying to revive the DRC's coffee sector by growing the Robusta and Arabica varieties. With many local and international awards, Mukuna and her team see they have been inspired to keep improving their coffee brand one cup at a time.
Away from that, some South Africans are calling for Britain to return the world's largest diamond, known as the Star of Africa, which is set on the royal scepter that King Charles III holds on his coronation. Now, the diamond, which weighs 530 carats, was discovered in South Africa in 1905 and presented to the British monarchy by the colonial government in South Africa, which was then under the British regime.
Well, some South Africans are calling for Britain to return the world's largest diamond, known as the Star of Africa, which is set in the royal scepter that King Charles III will hold at his coronation on Saturday. The diamond, which weighs 530 carats, was discovered in South Africa in 1905 and presented to the British monarchy by the colonial government in the country, which was then under British rule. Now, amid a global conversation about returning artwork and artifacts that were pillaged during colonial times, some South Africans are calling for the diamonds to be brought back, while others say they don't feel strongly about it. Officially known as Cullinan 1, the diamond in the scepter was cut from the Cullinan diamond, a 3,100 carat stone that was mined near Pretoria.
It is an honor to have the South African diamond in and under the control of the British monarchy. It gets a lot of emphasis on it, and it promotes South Africa as a destination for its wealth and its knowledge for mining South African diamonds.
To King Charles, I think it would be right for him to ascend his throne, ensuring that he's showing a sign of hope to us Africans, those who were previously colonized not by him directly, but by his predecessors. And I think if he wants to be a recognized monarchy, a respected monarchy by the African people, it would be wise of him to return what was taken from us without our consent.
We want the crown to be brought back to South Africa where it belongs. At least it will restore the dignity of the African child. At least it will restore the self-respect of the African child. So it's a touchy subject to me.
I don't think it matters anymore. Things have changed. We're evolving. What mattered for them in the olden days about being superior above all, based on being Britain and whatnot, it doesn't matter to us anymore.
Away from that, Rwandan President Paul Kagame met in the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak in London on Thursday ahead of the coronation of King Charles III. The meeting is part of a one-to-one discussion the British Prime Minister is holding with the world leaders.
Rwandan President Paul Kagame met the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak in London on Thursday ahead of the coronation of King Charles III. The meeting is part of one-to-one discussions the British Prime Minister is holding with world leaders as they arrive in London to take part of the royal ceremony. The UK has agreed a multi-million-pound partnership with Rwanda designed to tackle the number of small boats of migrants coming to Britain via unauthorized routes. The deal, worth £140 million, will allow the UK to send to Rwanda anyone who enters the country unlawfully. Sunak added that the United Kingdom and Rwanda are leading the way on the global migration issue. The British Prime Minister also praised the role of the Rwandan president as chair in office of the Commonwealth over the past year, saying he had led the way on issues such as trade and sustainability. The plan to send migrants to the East African nation was ruled lawful by High Court judges, but so far been stalled by legal action and no flights have taken off.
So in this news edition, here's a recap of our top stories we brought to you on Gulf TV Africa. There was a preparation and tasting local dishes workshop which was organized, gathering tourists from more than 20 different countries of the world. We also saw that residents of an Arab slum are on a mission to reducing the damage from the flooding in their area. And of course, concluding with this, at least 176 villagers were killed in flooding and landslides brought on by torrential overnight rains in eastern Congo's South Kivu province. Thanks for tuning in to Gulf TV Africa. I am Hazele. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.